Hello and welcome to Dimka's Woodworks. My name is Dima. So recently I turned a few pens from my online shop, and in this video I'm going to show you how I photograph all my pens. Now remember, I'm not a professional photographer, so the things you see in this video might be amateur for a photographer, but I'm a woodworker and not a photographer. I'm going to show you what I do and the settings that I came up with that work best for me. So as you can see behind me, I got my setup all ready. I turned these two lights off because then the video is kind of dark. So what I use is a white cloth for dark pens and a gray cloth for lighter pens, just to bring in the color a little bit. So I use a total of 5 lights. All 5 lights are fluorescent light bulbs. And for the bulbs, I buy these EcoBulb daylight light bulbs. They're 1600 lumens. At 65K. I got these at Menards. They come in a 3-pack. One more thing I forgot to mention is you want to use some wax paper in front of the light or a really thin cloth to diffuse the light, because you don't want too much of that glare going off of your nice shiny polished finish. If you use just a wax paper like I did here, it'll diffuse the light a little bit more and it'll make the image that much better. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use my Nikon D3000. I got this camera just for pen photography and any other small object that I turn on the lathe. This is probably one of the basic cameras you can find out there. The D3000 it doesn't even have video recording capabilities. So it came with the original lens, which is the 18 to 55 millimeter. I didn't upgrade anything to it except get a better micro SD card, which is I think it's a 10 megabyte per second instead of the one that came with it. So let's set this up and let's get started. But before I set the camera up on the tripod, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture in automatic mode, the mode that most of us are used to taking that normally don't take pictures. So I'm just going to take a couple photos to see if maybe without the lights. So I'm going to shut the lights off and see a photo, what it looks like then. So this is just a light coming from the outside into my shop. Actually, without the lights on, the picture might be a little better. So let's go set it up the way that I normally do it, and it's probably the way that you want to learn how. So now that I got the camera all set up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my GoPro, I'm going to position it so you could see hopefully my viewfinder and the display screen that's on the back of the camera for all the settings. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. So the first thing I want to do is once again put the camera in manual mode. Once you got your camera set up, the first thing you want to do is adjust the white balance. And the way I do this is I go into menu, scroll down to the shooting menu, which is going to be the little camera icon. Scroll down to white balance. Mine says preset because I set it up every time. And then I go to preset manual. Now you can either use a photo or you can measure it on the current setting. I go to measure because I can take the picture and measure it. It says override existing data. Yes. Once you get to this screen and you got the pre-blinking on the lower right hand corner, you go ahead and take a picture of your setup, which is the white background. Now the top C, you're going to have data acquired. That means that the camera white balance has been set to the current setting, and my pictures should come in just right. There is a little bit more tweaking you're going to have to do. The other thing is what I was told is this F needs to be at 16. I think it's the focal point to the object. The way you set this is you push that plus and minus button next to the info, and then use this scrolly wheel on top here to adjust the F. Like I said, I leave mine at 16. So now all you gotta do is take a picture. As you can see in the previews, the picture is just a little bit underexposed, meaning it's too dark. So what I do is I hit the info button, and then I adjust the scrolly wheel up top here to open up the lens a little bit. And what this is going to do is it's going to leave the lens open just a little bit longer. So I usually do 2 clicks at a time until I get to the picture. I've noticed that 1.6 and 1.8 is the best setting for my camera. As you can see, the picture is getting lighter. And remember, the lens is going to stay open a little bit longer, so right now would be a good time to put it in timer mode. So I'll show you what the next step you can do if you don't like the way the picture looks on the computer. So you might be watching this and thinking, wow, that's a lot of steps to take one single photo. But if you're like me and you've got 17 pens to take a picture of, really that setup time, it really pays for itself. I set this up, take pictures of all 17 pens in different configurations. Alright, so for this next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the memory card to my computer and bring up the pictures with the program that I use. So once you have all the pictures taken, the first thing you want to do is transfer them over to your computer for editing and final conversion to JPEG. And for this, I use a program called UNX2. And this is a free program available to download from the Nikon website. I'll post a link in the description. So let's go ahead and open the program. So as you can see here, you've got all the pictures that you were taking, and as you could tell, these are the pictures that I started taking while increasing the exposure time on my lens. So with this program, what you could do is you can micro tweak your pictures, or majorly, whichever. So I'm going to pick a picture here that looks close to what I want it to look like. And as you could tell, it might be, now let's pick a different one. Let's pick this one. So let's pick this one. So this picture, to me, is a bit overexposed, meaning it's a little bit too bright and it kind of blends into the background. So what I want is I want the gold, I want the Banksia, and I want the resin to be just a tiny bit darker to be closer to what the actual item is. So for this, what I do is I go to the Edit tab, and this field on the right hand side pops up. It has a lot of settings that you can edit. I don't really mess with any of them but 3, which is the exposure compensator, the sharpness, and the brightness. Anything else really makes the picture worse. So for the first thing, I'm going to show you what the exposure compensator does. So knowing that the picture is too light, bringing the cursor to the left is going to make the picture darker. Bringing it to the right is going to make it lighter. So here I'll show you. So bringing it all the way to the left might be just a tiny bit too dark. So what you want to do is you want to slowly bring it to the left until you feel like the colors are better and closer to the actual item. So here I'm happy with it. And the next thing I want to do is go to the sharpness, because I do see a little bit of blurry spots in this area right here. So I'm going to bring the sharpness cursor just a little bit to the right to get it just a tiny bit sharper. And I don't know if you can tell, but that is getting sharper. I'll show you what's going to happen if you bring the cursor all the way to the right. It's going to become so sharp that it actually becomes so grainy and kind of fake. So I don't like that, so I leave it closer to the blurry side. So I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing I'm looking at is the color of that resin and the color of the Banksia. Now I know the Banksia is a tiny bit darker on the brown side, and the resin should be a little bit darker charcoal color. So for this, what I can do is take this brightness tab. Once again, you move it to the right, it becomes lighter. Move it to the left, it becomes darker. I just want to darken it just a tiny bit until I'm comfortable with the colors, and that looks about right. So now you just click off the picture, and usually you get an icon pops up asking you if you want to save. Hit yes. In my case, it saves it automatically. So here you go. Here's you've got the overexposed picture, and here's the edited picture, which to me this is perfect for listing on your site or showing it off to your friends. So the last thing you want to do is you want to convert it from the raw format to a JPEG, and for that what I do is I select a picture. You can select multiple pictures by holding the control and selecting all the pictures. For the video's sake, I'm just going to do this one that I just edited. You hit the convert files, and this convert files window pops up. I always set the quality of the image to the highest quality because I want to maintain all the details. I almost never edit the size because that sometimes loses the image quality. Specify the folder. What we're going to do is we're going to post it in music just so we can find it quicker. You can always change the file names. I don't, because I always specify the final folder to where the picture belongs to. And then you just hit convert. Now a lot of these raw images are pretty large. They're about 5 megabytes each, so it sometimes takes a little bit of time to convert, especially if you have multiple pictures such as myself here. But once they're done, you can go ahead, minimize the program, and then you can go and find the image and open it with any photo viewer. So here you go, you've got the final product. The colors are very distinct. They're exactly what they should be. The color of the resin, the color of the Banksia is just right. So I'm pretty confident to post this picture on my website for sale, or show it off on any pen turning forum that you're a part of. Well, that's it for the program. Well, thanks for watching. I hope I helped you take better pictures, even if you're not a professional photographer like me. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Well, enough with photos. Have fun in the shop, and see you next time.